Before starting the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Maxim went into the old barn and asked his grandmother, "Well, show me what to move, what to throw out." Anna Petrovna pointed to the whole opposite wall of the shed. "And this is all this junk. Throw it out. I can't get my hands on it." "And what is in these boxes?" Maxim asked. "Old stuff from your good-for-nothing mother," Granny answered. "Oh, Grandma, I'll take it all away. Just give me time." "You go ahead. I'll dig around a bit. Maybe I'll find something interesting." "What can you find interesting in old things?" Anna Petrovna grumbled. "It's never too late to throw away everything," replied Maxim peacefully. "But I'm still a future journalist. I'm interested not only in the present, but also in the past. Maybe I'll find material for an article." "Well, go ahead, if it's so interesting." Grandmother turned and left the shed. Maxim loved Anna Petrovna, though he was afraid of her. Until now, and he felt grateful. His grandmother kept reminding him all his childhood and youth that he owed her for the rest of his life, because she didn't leave him in an orphanage, but took on a burden and raised him to be such an evil. As soon as Maxim was a little guilty, a threatening sound was heard. "Here, you have a clamp around your neck. You took the boy from the orphanage, and look how ungrateful he turned out to be. I'll turn you in. Then you'll understand what it's like to live at home or in the care of the state, where there are only juvenile delinquents around you." As a child, such threats from his grandmother terrified the boy, and he immediately corrected his grades or behavior, began to help Anna Petrovna to please, so long as she did not execute his threat. As he grew older, Maxim realized that grandmother, although she was excessively strict, but in fact, not an evil woman, she just didn't love him the way grandmothers usually love their grandchildren. It is said that grandchildren are loved more than children. In Maxim's case, Anna Petrovna loved neither her daughter nor her grandson. Much later, when Maxim was already 12 years old, he learned why. In one of his grandmother's rare bouts of benevolence, Maxim asked, "Grandma, please show me where my mother is buried." To his surprise, Anna Petrovna did not snap as usual, but quickly got ready and they went to the cemetery. There she could hardly find her daughter's grave, all overgrown with tall weeds, so that even the monument was no longer visible. Maxim began to clean the grave, and in between asked him a question that tormented him all his childhood. "Bah, and how did you live with your mother? What was she like as a child in her youth? How did she live?" "Ryubka, your rascal mother, was not my kin. I married a widower with a baby girl. She was already 6 years old. I wanted to be a mother to the child, but it was no use. God forbid. Disobedient, spoiled. Always problems with her, always trouble. Her father came home from work, patted her on the head, gave her a present, and went to watch TV. And I had to put up with all her antics, and how much I suffered from the girl. I'm the only one who knows. And when my husband, your grandfather, died, I couldn't stand it at all. She didn't listen to me, she didn't acknowledge her teachers. No one was her authority. And when she was 16, she ran away from home with some guy. I, of course, reported her to the police. Everything as it should be. But to no avail. Nobody even looked for her. About 3 years later, she turned up. She lived for a couple of years, but she disappeared again. And I never saw her again. Further, Anna Petrovna said that once she got a call from the maternity hospital and was told that her daughter gave birth to a boy, and she herself died in childbirth. The boy is healthy. Let his grandmother take him away. The woman took her stepdaughter's body and buried it. But she categorically refused to take the child. She did not want to bring up her stepdaughter's son, whom she did not love, again. And just beginning to settle her personal life, a man appeared. They seemed to be in love, and a serious, non-drinking handyman. Then again, no kids. Where would she take a boy? Her new husband-to-be would not accept her with baggage in the form of a grandson. He knew nothing about her daughter, even though she was adopted. And here was a baby who needed a lot of attention. So the baby stayed at the baby home, and Anna Petrovna got happily married. But her married life did not work out. Very soon, Sirius' handy husband began to drink, first on weekends, then more and more often. Soon he lost his job and drank heavily. After 2 years of life together, and got drunk with fever and died. That's when Anna Petrovna remembered the boy she'd given up on. She decided that her husband's death was a punishment from above for abandoning her child to the mercy of fate. And after the funeral, she went straight to the orphanage, formalized custody, and since then, Maxim has been living with his grandmother. That was the end of the good mood almost immediately, and grandmother never spoke of Maxim's mother again, nor did she answer any questions. And the young man accumulated a great many questions, and the most important of them, who was his father? How could he find out? What if he is still alive? Many questions, no answers. And the boy decided that someday, when he grew up, he would find all the answers, no matter what. All of his life, Maxim has suffered from a lack of love and warmth. His grandmother fed him, clothed him, went to parent-teacher conferences. But it was as if she was doing her share of the labor. It was as if she was trying to beg for something, or to placate someone from above. But she didn't have the slightest feeling for her grandson. Neither a tender look nor a kind word. Probably that is why Maxim had no relations with the opposite sex. Though he grew up as a handsome and sensible boy. First the girls, and then the girls saw in him a friend only, and they did not want to recognize him as a young man with whom to have a romantic relationship. Maxim had already given up on ever meeting a girl who would see him as more than just a vest. But he decided that fate would rule kindly in its own time, and he would not rush her. After school, Maxim had no problem getting into a prestigious institute, the Department of Journalism. He always felt in himself an inclination to compose. In addition, he had some innate literacy, curiosity, and a rich imagination. If we add to everything his enormous desire to find any information about his mother and father, that's how the image of his future profession was formed. The institute was in a nearby town, which attracted the boy even more. With great relief, he left his grandmother and settled in the institute's dormitory. Now Maxim was already in his third year and only occasionally came to visit his grandmother. And then, just recently, Anna Petrovna called her grandson and asked him, "Maxim, come over for the vacations. I need your help." "Is something wrong, Grandma?" "You can't wait. I need to throw out the junk from the shed to make room for furniture. I want to update the living room a little bit. The movers are charging unimaginable prices, and I still have to buy new furniture. Would you be so kind as to come over and take care of it yourself? Have I been lifting you up for nothing for so many years?" And now Maxim was looking around the rows of boxes, and his heart was beating with hope. He had not known that they had things in the barn that belonged to his mother. He would have looked and examined everything long ago. There was nothing of interest in the first boxes, so old clothes and shoes, tape cassettes long out of use, his old toys. But the next box got the young man really excited. Right on top of the pile of old notebooks was a photo album. Now that was a lucky find. His hands trembled a little when Maxim opened the album and saw the image of a little girl in the first picture. He knew at once it was his mother, although he only knew what she looked like from the photo on the monument. Her grandmother never kept any pictures in the house. Then there were pictures of his mother a little older, school pictures, with classmates, with boys and girls, amateur shots in nature or in the cityscape. Mom was smiling and incredibly beautiful everywhere, although perhaps it seemed so to the son's gaze. But the girl was really quite attractive. More often than not, his mother was in pictures with the same girl, apparently a best friend. Seeing this friend pictured alone in one picture, Maxim pulled out the photo and read on the back, "To my best friend from Oksana," and then the name of the city and the year. Strangely enough, the city indicated on the photo was the city where Maxim had studied. Counting in his mind, the boy realized that the photo was taken 2 years before he was born. His heart raced again. So if he could find this Oksana, he could learn more about his mother, how she lived, what she was into, and if he was lucky, the name of his father. Under the album were his mother's school notebooks and journals. Maxim decided to look at them later. But at the very bottom of the box, he saw a hand-painted notebook and immediately realized this was it, what he had been looking for so long. What could tell him about his mother, about her life and feelings, experiences? The diary. The young man put the diary in his bag along with the photo album, put aside the box of notebooks, and quickly looked through the other boxes. Without much success, though. He found nothing else of curiosity. Maxim called a truck, loaded all the boxes, and paid the driver to take everything to the dump. The boy had money, albeit not much. On top of a tiny stipend, he worked part-time writing articles for various print and online publications, wrote term and dissertations for other students for money. And how else to live? Anna Petrovna immediately warned, raise, taught, clothed, fed, then provide for yourself, an adult. So he provided for himself. He even had enough to help his grandmother with money. When the barn was cleared, Maxim entered the house, and put the cherished box at the entrance. "And what is this?" Anna Petrovna asked. "Why are you dragging junk into the house?" "Don't worry, I'll take it with me," Maxim replied. "It's my mother's papers. I have a favor to ask you, Grandma. Here's a picture of some Oksana, as I understand it, Mom's friend. Do you know anything about her?" Anna Petrovna looked closely at the picture and nodded. "Sure, I remember. She was just like your mother. That's why we became friends. We were thick as thieves. I think her name was Oksana. Have you heard anything about her since Mom died?" "I heard that she married well, to some rich man, not like your mama, the whistleblower. I don't know, and I didn't ask any questions." "Why do you meet Oksana?" "Grandma, you know that all my life I want to know who my father was, and how my mother lived. On top of that, I've got a journalistic appetite. It says the name of the town, but how to find this unknown Oksana? I don't know. Can you help me in any way? Please." Maxim pleadingly folded his arms. Anna Petrovna reluctantly shrugged her shoulders. "I only remember her last name, but it will hardly help you. She got married in another city. Most likely, she carries her husband's surname too. Still, it was at least a clue. I'm sure he'll unravel the tangle. He's got a grip like a real journalist. Fortunately, he would have to look for it without leaving his place of study." In the evening, Maxim lay in bed and leafed through his mother's diary, gazing fondly at the lines written in a girl's handwriting. Everything was written with feeling. The events were described colorfully and in detail. Apparently, his literary talent was inherited from his mother. The young man learned a lot about the feelings of a young girl who did not like her stepmother and in every way showed his youthful protest against his father's wife by bad behavior. As a very little girl, the girl suffered from her father's lack of attention, and after his death, she felt betrayed and abandoned. And so, feeling no love from Anna Petrovna, did everything to make her life did not seem like honey, not realizing that it is a stick with two ends. After all, in doing so, the girl ruined her life and herself. Closer to dawn, Maxim finally fell asleep, holding the diary of his mother. In the morning, the young man helped his grandmother free the living room from the old furniture, took everything into the barn. Then he said goodbye and drove with relief to the city, which he already considered his own. Every time he left Anna Petrovna, he sighed with relief, because he had never felt warm and comfortable at home. Their home was not his own. There was no love in it. Of course, he took the precious box and promised his grandmother not to disappear and visit her. Although she needed it like a kangaroo needed a backpack, it was just a matter of common courtesy. There was a session ahead, and the investigation was put aside for the time being. Maxim successfully passed the session, and in doing so managed to earn some money by helping other students. Finally came the long-awaited vacations, and the guy was able to fully engage in the search for the unknown Oksana. The first thing Maxim asked the magazine, for which he often wrote short articles, to issue him a press card. This should help him in his investigation. Now he was an official freelance correspondent, which opened many doors without any problems. How it helped to get a lot of ordinary people talking. After all, the press is the fourth, but still the power, after the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. And this means a lot for his quest, and Maxim began with registry offices. He bypassed all the departments of the city, looking for information about his mother's friend, knowing her maiden name and surname. By the law of meanness, the necessary information turned out to be only in the last department of the registry office. They immediately helped Maxim when he saw the journalist's ID and believed the legend, invented in advance, that the woman was supposedly being sought in the TV program, Wait for Me, by long-lost relatives who knew her only by her maiden name. The kind-hearted employees of the wedding palace, even through the passport office, without any inquiries, helped the journalist find out not only the current name, but also Oksana's address. Having thanked the women from the bottom of his heart and promised to let them know the day of the program's broadcast, Maxim said his warm goodbyes and left. Now he was not filled with ghostly hope, but with the most accurate information.